Greetings, Chocoholics. Welcome back to Aroma Chocolates. My name is John Nielsen, and today I'm going to show you how to fill, cap, and unmold your chocolates. This is going to be the last video in the series of masterclasses that we've been doing for beginners on how to make delicious and professional looking chocolates. So, if that sounds like fun to you, then let's get started and make something sweet. Okay, we need a filling to put into our shells. So there's all sorts of different fillings that you can have, but what we're going to do for this video is just a simple ganache, a nice dark chocolate peppermint ganache. I've got some dark chocolate in here with some cream and a little extra cocoa butter and some unsalted butter. And all these extra fats are going to help with keeping the Form 5 cocoa butter crystals from forming a really tight bond so that we get a nice creamy and smooth filling. And I'm just going to be adding some peppermint oil into this. So I'm using a hand blender here to quickly emulsify all the ingredients together so that we don't get any lumps or anything like that. And when we see that it's become a nice shiny and smooth texture, then we can put it into a pastry bag so that we can let it cool down, and then we will be ready to put it into our chocolate shells. Okay, we've got a peppermint ganache here, just a simple peppermint ganache. It's dark chocolate. We're using the Mia Mare 58% from cacao berry. We've got cream and a little bit of extra cocoa butter and a little bit of butter. That butter will help make it nice and smooth and really nice. Now, we don't want to be applying or filling our molds, our shells, with hot ganache. So this has been allowed to set to sit in the refrigerator and cool off till it gets around 88 to probably 87 degrees. We don't want it to get too cold because then it'll be too solid and it won't fill properly and it won't flow right. So now we've got this at the right temperature. It's ready to go into our molds, into our shells. So let's get the tip of this cut off. We're going to cut off just about that much of the pastry bag. We want to hold it right here at the tip and hold the pastry bag just like this, because we're going to squeeze with this hand and we're going to stop it with this hand. And we're going to just put this in all the way up to here. Now, we don't want to overfill these. Remember, we need to leave a space for the cap. Right up to where we talked about where that little lip is made when we did the shelling. That's going to leave us enough room for a nice cap that's not going to shrink too much or and cause a crack. There we go. We'll continue on over on this side. Actually want to start closer in, further away from you, so that you're not accidentally dragging your knuckles or whatever into the ganache. Now, if you've got it underfilled, like say this one here, then you can just very carefully add a couple more drops of ganache in, just like that, to bring it up to the level it needs to be. Now I've got my tray up here on a couple of buckets like this. I got these buckets from Chef Rubber, from products that I've purchased from them. And I've got these up here higher because I don't want to be hunched over filling these chocolate shells. So I've got it lifted up to where I'm not bending over so much and it's not gonna break my back to do it. So if you've got something that you can raise your tray up with so you can bring it up a little closer to you, that would be great. Saves your back, especially when you're doing a whole bunch of chocolates. We've got this whole section done. We're gonna turn this around. And now we're gonna fill the other side. Whoops, a little too much. Once we're all filled, I'll show you how we take care of overfilled shells. Because there is a way that I do it. You know that you've got a good ganache when it flows nicely and it's not piling up on you. And when I say piling up, meaning it sort of looks like a dog turd when you put it into the shell. We don't want that. We want a nice smooth ganache because it makes a nice smooth flat layer for when we go to put our caps on. If we got something a little wonky and stuff, we're gonna have really thick chocolate going down the sides of these piles of ganache. We don't want piles of ganache, we want a nice pool of ganache. And leave this overnight, it will solidify nicely and then we can put a nice cap on. Okay, we've got these filled up nicely, as you can see how nice they are. Now we've got one here that's filled up too much. So let me show you what I do to remedy that. If I try and cap that, it's going to squish out even if it sets, and it's not going to make a nice seal for my cap. So I take a little stir stick or whatever you want. You can take like a really tiny spoon or the end of a knife, whatever, and just kind of scoop out a little bit. Scoop out a little bit just like that. Make sure that you're getting enough out so that it flows down below that little line. Oh, there's another one that's too full. Wipe your edges if you need to. If you get any ganache on your chocolate shell edges, it's going to have a problem sealing properly when you go and put the cap on. So my suggestion is to try and wipe those little spots off if you have any. I had one over here. And make sure that you have nice clean edges on your shell so that you can have a really good adherence of the cap to the shell. Okay, these are all filled up, nicely filled. Take a look at that there. They are nice, evenly filled. I had to top off a couple more, but and that'll settle out after a little bit. But we've got all these pretty evenly filled. All these shells are ready. So now we are going to let this set overnight to allow that chocolate, the cocoa butter in the chocolate, to solidify. It's not going to be super hard because we've got other fats in there from the cream and the butter that are helping it not create really tight bonds with that Form 5 cocoa butter crystal. Let's leave this overnight, and tomorrow we will come back and put the caps on.
The next morning.
Okay, well, our ganache has finally set. It's nice and soft and shiny. It's ready for the caps. Now, if you recall, when we filled these up to right where the edge of our chocolate shell curved and went down along the edge of the mold cavity. We don't want our cap to be too thick, because if it's too thick, then it will contract too much and pull away from the the shell of our chocolates and create a little space for some microorganisms to get in there and cause spoilage. So we've filled these up to about 3 millimeters from the top. It's just the perfect height to where you want your fillings to be. Now, when we cap these, we need to heat up the top edges of our shells. Just barely. We don't want to melt the chocolate, we just want to make it soft so that when we add the melted chocolate for the caps, that it adheres to it properly and makes a good seal. Let's get capping these chocolates. Okay, we are ready to cap these bonbons now. I've got a bowl of tempered chocolate here. Let's make sure that we're in the working temperature. Oh yeah, we're good. We don't have as much chocolate here as we do for when we are making shells, but sort of the process is the same. We're gonna hold on to the mold just like this. Remember those little edges right here on the back to hold on to so our hand isn't covering everything and melting our chocolate. Hold it over the bowl. We're gonna get our ladle. We're gonna get some chocolate. Now this doesn't require as much chocolate as it does when we are shelling, but we still need to coax it toward all those cavities. Now this one we're gonna do without heating the shells. Like, I know I mentioned that we need to heat the shells, but we're gonna do a little test and see how it does without doing that. This is when keeping your scraper this way is important. If we were to pull it like this, we're going to push the chocolate into the ganache, and sometimes these ganache or fillings can be very soft, and if you do that, the ganache will squish up. So we want to just push it off, not pull it. We want to push it off and basically cut that chocolate. So, and in doing it in one quick movement like this, 1, 2, 3, just like that, and it's nice and smooth. We'll do it again for this side, just like that. And then we'll clean that spot up right there, and then clean off your sides if you have a little spill over on the sides, like this. And then we need to tap it out. This will help with getting the bubbles to come up to the top, and also helps level it out a little bit. All right, now we can set this aside. See how nice and smooth and flat those are? We can set this aside and let that set up. Well, I got my heat gun going now, and we are going to just lightly heat the edges of these chocolate shells up. We don't want to melt them, we just want to heat them up lightly, and so gotta watch to make sure that they aren't melting. And you'll know that it's getting soft when it starts getting glossy around the edges. Just barely. We don't want to really get that melted too much, because that's going to take our chocolate out of temper, especially using a heat gun, which is a lot hotter than what you'd really want your chocolate to be. So we can see right here on this one on the corner that it's getting kind of shiny. So that one's about ready to go. We don't want to heat that one up too much more. But again, we're doing this so that the chocolate gets a little softer, and the melted chocolate for the caps adheres better to the chocolate shell, so that we can get a better seal on our bonbons. Okay, I'm starting to see it around the edges, looking good. And now we'll get our ladle and our tempered chocolate here, and we will put some on here. And I need to work fast because this chocolate might be getting a little too cool. Dark chocolate tends to get cooler faster and set faster than than milk chocolate or even white chocolate. So we're going to coax this to the edges and make sure it fills in all the cavities very well. So it kind of heats up that chocolate of the shell. We can see that. There we go. Okay, now we scrape off the scraper, and again we are pushing and cutting so that we don't squish our filling. And quick movement like that, and another one, quick movement like that. Now sometimes you might miss a little bit right there. It's okay, just get a little bit of chocolate on the edge of your scraper, fill it in, do another quick scrape like that, and now we're going to tap it, try and get all those bubbles out if there are any. Sometimes there are, sometimes they're not, but what the tapping also does is it helps smooth out that chocolate layer and make it nice and smooth. And there we go. Now we can set this aside and let that set up, and once it's set up, we can get these out of the molds, as long as they've contracted away from the mold. And I'll show you that in the next step. Well, our caps are set. As we can see, they are solid to the touch, and they are ready to come out of the mold. Well, not quite. Because if we look at the underside of the mold, this will tell us if our shells have contracted away from the mold. And on this one, we can see that they are not. If we compare it to this mold, we can see that the chocolates have pulled away. You can see a definite difference. Well, see, that one just fell right out because it was ready to go. So we got to be careful when holding these molds upside down if your mold looks like this. So we need to let these contract, and if they don't contract, if your kitchen isn't dialed in with the proper temperatures and everything, and if your chocolate isn't the right thickness and all that stuff, they won't contract all the way, so we kind of have to help them along. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them in the refrigerator. You don't want them in the refrigerator for too terribly long, because if you leave them in there for too long, they can get too cold, and when you take them out, condensation, the moisture in the air can cause condensation on your chocolates, and it will cause them to stick in the mold more, and it can also lead to a little bit of sugar bloom and not a nice finish on your chocolates. So what we need to do is we need to put them in the refrigerator for anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes at a time. You can pull them out, take a look at them. If they don't look all the way pulled away, then put them back in for another 5 minutes. But we don't want to leave the molds with the chocolates in them in the refrigerator for very long, because that can cause problems. So in order for this mold, which isn't pulled away, to contract, for those chocolates to contract, then we got to put it in the fridge. So let's go do that now. We've got these all set. Now if you look, you can see that, whoops, we have to be careful, they'll come right out. They have all completely pulled away from the mold. All of them have pulled away, and so we are ready to unmold these. Let's take a look at this one. Yep, these have all pulled away as well, except we've got one here that's a little stubborn. And and another one over here, it's a little stubborn. We can fix that. Hopefully flexing it like this will help a little bit. We'll see. Now,
We've got these have been in the fridge for about 10-15 minutes. These were a little bit more stubborn, so they needed a little bit more time. But now we've got this done, we can peel off the transfer. Look how shiny those bottoms are. Pretty cool. Really nice looking. Now all we do is we flip this over real quick and we commence to beating the crap out of it. And that is that. All of them have pulled away, and look at that. Look how beautiful these are. These have come out really nice. These, I misspoke previously. These are the 2-layer chocolates, 2-layer creamsicle chocolates. Now, if we look at the bottoms, here's the bottoms. Nice and shiny, smooth bottoms. Look at those. Isn't that fun? So now you got this really cool little transfer design on the bottom of these. Mold number 2. Let's peel off the transfer. Almost looks like we didn't peel anything off. Look at that. Now flip it over, just like that. Beat the crap out of it. We don't want to hit this too hard. I mean, really. If we hit it too hard, things will bounce, and this can actually come down onto the chocolates and nick them, and it kind of causes an unsightly little mark. Let's get that one out. There we go. These are ready for people to enjoy. These are going to be so fun and delicious. Look at that, how pretty those are. And now we've got this whole tray here of these wonderful, beautiful chocolates. These are orange creamsicle flavored chocolates. We've got a single layer filling on this side and a dual layer filling over on this side. We've got some really beautiful chocolates here. Now the real test is to see what they are like inside. So let's pick one here, and we've got a warmed up knife so that it cuts through the chocolate better. And we'll just cut this beautiful little peppermint ganache chocolate. Look at that. It is beautifully filled with ganache, nice and soft. Let's see how soft that is. Look how soft, creamy that is. That is just absolutely beautiful. But the real test is how it tastes. Oh. That's really good. A fun little subtle peppermint taste to it. Not overpowering, but just enough. I really like that. This is the dual layer chocolate. And if we look at this one, there's our dual layer right there. Our orange pâte de fruits along with a orange vanilla. Beautiful. Let's taste it. Wow. That tastes just like a creamsicle. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Sometimes I amaze myself. Congratulations! You now know how to fill, cap, and unmold your chocolates so you can now enjoy them with your friends and family. You've also just finished the last video in our masterclass series for beginners on how to make chocolates. I hope you learned something today, and I hope to have earned your subscription. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next video here. And in the meantime, I hope you have a sweet day.